Hello, everyone. My name is Mila, and I am writing this in the quiet of the night, haunted by a revelation that shook the foundations of my reality. Our relationship had reached the 1-year mark and everything seemed stable. What I didn't realize was that a storm had been brewing from the beginning. Subtle hints of doubt gnawed at me, but it was my gut feeling, that elusive feminine intuition, that urged me to dig deeper. A sleepless night and a pounding heart led me to the App Store, a seemingly innocuous step that would reveal a truth I wasn't prepared for. I scrolled through the list of downloaded apps, and there it was, like a betrayal etched in digital ink. Dating apps, several, and all installed in just a month of our relationship. Shock hit me like a tidal wave, the cold realization that I was blind to something bubbling beneath the surface. I came face to face with Michael, my voice shaking with fear and anger. "Why?" I demanded, searching his eyes for an explanation. His facial expression changed, a flicker of guilt that was quickly replaced by a defensive stance. "Mila, it's not what you think," he said, weakly trying to brush off the accusation. "Not what I think?" I incredulously interjected. "Dating apps. Michael, a month we've been together. What am I supposed to believe?" His eyes raced, looking for an excuse. "I downloaded them, but that doesn't mean I used them." "It's not cheating." Tension hung in the room, the words hanging in the air as if daring him to defy his logic. "How can I trust you after this? How do I know you weren't using those apps behind my back?" "Mila, you're making a big deal out of this." "It's not like that," he insisted, his voice strained. Our words clashed like swords in a battle of conflicting truths. I pushed for more, seeking the honesty I deserved, but he continued to act defiant, dismissing my concerns as baseless accusations. As the night wore on, the echoes of our conversation never faded, leaving me alone after a revelation that shattered the illusion of our perfect love story. I didn't realize that this was only the beginning of a journey that would force me to question everything I thought I knew about love and trust. The morning after the revelation, we stood in silent confrontation, unspoken tension in the air. I could not shake the weight of what I had discovered, and his name's attempts to downplay the seriousness of his actions only fueled my fire. I couldn't let it go. We needed to talk. I found him in the living room, flipping through his phone like nothing happened. I took a deep breath, preparing myself for the confrontation ahead. "Can we talk?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside me. He looked up, concern flashed across his face, but then he hid it with a forced smile. "Sure, what's up?" I didn't waste any time. "These dating apps, Michael, I needed answers. You can't just brush it off like it's nothing." He sighed, as if he was weighed down by my insistence. "Look, I told you last night. I downloaded them, but I never used them." "That's not cheating." I stared at him, disbelief written all over my face. "You mean you downloaded some dating apps and expected me to believe it was innocent? How naive do you think I am? Your name, you're exaggerating. It's not like I went on a date or anything. It was just curiosity." "Curiosity?" I snorted derisively. "A month after our relationship started. That's not curiosity. That's a betrayal of trust." He stood up, disappointment red in his gesture. "You're being irrational. It's not like I cheated on you." "But you might have," I replied, my patience wearing thin. "How can I trust you now?" He shook his head, dismissing my concerns. "You're making a big deal out of it." "And what about you? You're erasing messages and using incognito mode. That's suspicious too." "I have nothing to hide," I replied, my voice firm. I've always been open about my personal life. This isn't about me. It's about you betraying our relationship. The conversation turned into a heated altercation, every word becoming a battlefield of our conflicting realities. I could see the walls he was putting up, the denial he was clinging to, and it pained me to realize that the man I thought I knew so well could keep such secrets. As the words died down, leaving us in awkward silence, it hit me. We were standing on opposite sides of a vast chasm, and the bridge between us was crumbling. The way forward seemed uncertain, and the choice to rebuild or leave was greater than ever. In the days following the confrontation, the weight of truth weighed heavily on my shoulders. I faced conflicting emotions and questioned the validity of my feelings. Friends and family offered well-meaning advice, and each perspective added to the cacophony in my mind. I sought solace in my circle of close friends, laying out the details of the betrayal I had uncovered. Their reactions ranged from shock to anger, a chorus of opinions that only added to the confusion within me. "So what are you going to do?" my friend Sarah asked, her eyes reflecting a mixture of concern and sympathy. "I don't know," I admitted, feeling the uncertainty gnawing at my resolve. "Part of me wants to believe him, but another part of me wonders if I'm fooling myself." Sarah sighed, the look on her face reflecting the complexity of the situation. "Trust your intuition, Mila. If you feel betrayed, don't ignore it. You deserve someone who respects your boundaries." Her words echoed in my mind as I searched for further validation. Online forums became a refuge for me, a place where strangers shared their stories of heartbreak and resilience. The stories varied, each representing a unique journey of pain and healing. The realization that I was not alone in this struggle was both comforting and disconcerting. I posted my own story, putting all the details out there for all to see. The responses came pouring in sympathy, advice, and shared experiences. Among the virtual sea of opinions, I found comfort in the camaraderie of those who understood the complexity of navigating a relationship marred by betrayal. One comment stood out: "Trust yourself. You know what is right for you." Simple yet profound, it resonated in the deepest part of my being. The path forward became clearer. The decision now hinged on my own understanding of what I deserved. As I continued to seek validation from others who had traveled a similar path, a sense of clarity began to emerge. It wasn't about whether my actions were too dramatic or whether I should continue to invest in this relationship. It was about recognizing my value and finding the strength to make a decision that aligned with my values and self-worth. The way forward remained uncertain, but armed with my newfound knowledge, I approached the crossroads with a sense of determination, ready to face the challenges ahead. The echoes of other people's stories served as a guide, reminding me that I was not just a victim of circumstance, but an active participant in shaping the plot of my own life. Days turned into weeks, and the emotional storm wasn't going to subside. I found myself at a crossroads, torn between the desire to salvage what was left of our relationship and the daunting prospect of going forward alone. Conversations with friends and information gleaned from online communities served as a compass, but the way forward remained shrouded in uncertainty. It was time to face the reality of our broken relationship and make a decision that would change the course of my life. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room, I broached the subject with Michael. The air between us grew heavy with unspoken words as I began to lay out my experiences. "I can't shake the feeling of betrayal," I confessed, my voice steady despite the vulnerability that squeaked through me. "I've tried to understand, but the trust has been broken." He looked at me, disappointment and resignation read in his eyes. "Are we really going to keep going in circles with this?" I already told you it was a mistake. There was silence, emphasizing the gravity of the impending decision. It's more than a mistake, I replied, choosing my words carefully. It's a breach of trust, and I can't ignore it. Tension hung in the air as we faced the reality of our situation. The love that had once bound us together now seemed like a fragile thread stretched to breaking point. The choice to rebuild or leave still remained, demanding recognition. I need time, I stated, begging for space to sort through the emotional maze that lay before me. He nodded, and a grim understanding emerged between us. The room that had once been a haven for shared laughter and whispered promises was now witnessing the disintegration of what we both held dear. In the silence, after our conversation, I pondered the significance of the crossroads at which I stood. This decision was not only about the actions of the past, it was a proclamation of a sense of self-worth and a commitment to a future built on trust and mutual respect. As the days stretched on, I rediscovered myself, reflecting on the person I had become within this tumultuous relationship. The echoes of other people's stories served as a backdrop and a reminder that the path of healing and self-discovery belonged to me alone. The crossroads beckoned, and with a mixture of trepidation and determination, I stepped forward. The decision was made to embrace the uncertainty of the unknown, revisit my life story, and embark on a journey of healing and self-love. The road ahead was uncharted, but I met it with a newfound resilience, ready to embrace the opportunities that awaited me beyond the crossroads.